Hey, so thank you so much for joining me, William. I really appreciate you doing this first one with me and kind of testing the waters a bit. So, just
Yeah,
share with
absolutely.
us your name and your business and what you do.
So my name is William James, and about 6 years ago, we started a carpet cleaning business. It started out as carpet cleaning. We offer an array of different services now, um, and yeah, that's where we're at today. So,
Cool.
yep, we started back
And
in 2019 and just took it off full time, and here we are.
nice. And you are based out of where? Where do you?
So we started in Mountain Home. However, during COVID, because the town is so small, moves weren't happening as much during that time. So we focused a lot of growth up into Boise, Meridian, Kuna, the greater Treasure Valley area. So this time of year during the holiday season, things kind of wind down a little bit. We're about 50 split with Mountain Home in the greater Treasure Valley, but in the summertime we're in Boise and the surrounding areas all week long.
Oh, okay. Actually, I did not know that. I thought you were just a mountain home. So, okay,
Nope,
interesting.
all over.
Okay, so when did you exit the military?
So I exited the military. I exited the military officially in 2021. So I
Okay.
did. I started in '09, I believe it was. It was '09. I joined in the active duty, and I was in the active duty for 6 years. And then transitioning from the active duty, I joined the Air National Guard. And at that point, I started using my GI Bill to go to flight school and over in Oregon. And things didn't really pan out with that. Not because anything bad happened with training or anything. I guess life happened. We could say it that way.
Yeah.
And decided to stop training and shift gears, and ended up moving back to Mountain Home and starting the business.
Okay.
And
Nice.
I started the business at 19. Was still in the Air National Guard. Air National Guard. I actually worked out a deal with my command, so I was quarterly drilling. So instead of doing the month to month thing, and then transitioning over to Gowan Field, which was obviously being in Idaho, quarterly I would just go to Portland, and that's where I would do my drills.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you left the military in 19 and then you just went straight into the carpet cleaning business.
yeah.
Is that
So at
yeah.
19, I was still in the Air National Guard, but yes, I was not doing it full time.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So in regards to, outside of business, before we
Hmm.
kind of get into that, so as far as, just life goes, how do
Hmm.
you keep your sanity with all the things going on, building a business and serving the business? You're very active in it.
Yeah.
How do you kind of like maintain your sanity, maintain your balance in your life with your family and,
Hmm.
just kind of keep yourself energized and keep yourself going?
Ooh. One thing that my wife and I have been practicing, I'll just give one, I guess, for now. We continue on with it, but one thing
Yeah.
that my wife and I do, especially because the family is heavily involved in day to day life as well. And yes, running a business is very cumbersome and demands a lot of time, but you also do have to make time for yourself and your family. And
Mhm.
what my wife and I do is we put everything on a calendar. So uh, if we want to do even a concert or a movie night or even something simple where we just want to stay home and make dinner together or something like that, or do a movie night with the kids, we'll put even simple things like that in our calendar, because if it's in the calendar, then there's intent behind it,
Mm,
and
yeah.
you'll make it happen that way. As a matter of fact, in a couple days we're taking the kids to the Bahamas for their first time.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and
Wait, where are
that
you
was
going in
something
the
we put on.
Bahamas? Where are you going in the Bahamas?
Nas
Sorry.
We're going to Nassau, and then we're going to Coco Cay.
Oh, okay. Okay. My kids
Yep,
want to go
yep.
to Atlantis, and I was like, that's okay. We'll work our way up to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
Ashley and I went on a cruise last year, and we just had so much fun, and we wanted to share the experience with the kids. And they're all of age that I think that they will remember it. Our 4-year-old may or may
Yeah.
not. We'll see. But
Yeah.
our older two for sure, and we know that they'll have so much fun. So we wanted to share the experience with them. So we bought the tickets last year, and then we like, again, back to the calendar thing, we just put everything on the calendar and make it happen. Like I said, concerts. As soon as we buy the tickets, it goes into the calendar because being in the home service industry, we always being in the home service industries, we are trying to make sure that we're meeting our customers' needs and as far as scheduling goes, making sure that we're available for them.
Right.
But if you don't schedule time for yourself, it won't happen either. So you really, really do have to schedule time for yourself, even if it is something simple.
Yeah.
There was a time that I even put my gym schedule like hour by hour in blocks in my calendar, just because that was something that was important to me at the time. If it's important to you, put it in the calendar. It's the intent is there, and you'll get it done.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I mean, I do try to schedule things, but sometimes I don't, especially like family stuff. I always put like business related stuff or, or schedule a certain time. Oh yeah, I'll go to the gym. Then I don't go at that time. But that's a good idea to kind of like add, each other in there so everyone kind of knows what's going on, and scheduling like time to yourself, date nights or whatever, family time or whatever that looks like. So, I mean, what are your, what's kind of like, besides vacations and stuff, like what are your kind of like regular go-tos to do with the family or just with Ashley?
So go-tos, goodness, what do we do? It's really hard, honestly. I don't know why it's a hard question.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we get so busy, we're like, wait, what do we do for fun? I forgot.
Yeah. So we try to do a small thing for us is normally like, go to the movies or a movie night with the kids at the house, and we all sit around and lounge around and have popcorn and stuff. We live a very structured life, so every single day, it's same day, same time, the same things are happening.
Oh, okay.
So it's the week. So Sundays I take off. 9 times out of 10, I take Sundays off, and we'll just try to do something simple with the family. We'll go to the park. We'll during the summertime we go to the lake or we go bowling or something like that. The girls are at an age now where they're starting to have an interest in fishing, so we'll likely be picking that up this coming year. And just getting into outdoor things. So we've been working on getting equipment for the girls for camping. So this coming summer, we're going to be scheduling that out as well. We just like to do we like to do a lot of creating memories, doing things together. I mean, the cruise that we're going on that I mentioned earlier is like a big, huge thing. I don't know how often that's going to happen. But as far as week to week goes, we just try to have at least a day to where we can enjoy time as a family. On a personal note, for me though, for my hobbies, I like to wrench on things. I like to be out in the garage playing with it. I have a motorcycle that's in 1,000 pieces out there right now. I like to go ride my other one around. If somebody needs help on a car, I know that's kind of silly too as far as a hobby goes, because I know I'm helping, but I really enjoy, I guess, helping people and working on cars. So it's kind of a twofer for me.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep. So I also recently for myself, I haven't been focusing as much on those hobbies because I did start going back to flight school again. So I finished my private license years ago, back in 2016. And then this last year, I decided to get back into it. I have my instrument rating and my commercial rating now, or my commercial certificate. So I'm working on my my CFI or my instructor certificate right now, so that I can go fly helicopters for a little bit too. Nice. Aviation's been a passion for me, so that kind of satiates my need for, like a hobby,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we just bought dirt bikes for everyone, so we're super excited to teach the kids how to ride those. We were just out there. Nick took the kids out to teach them the fundamentals, and they're like, "We just want to ride. Like, we don't want to learn the safety stuff. Just get us on there."
That'll be fun this summer. You guys are gonna really, There's a lot of cool places around to go.
I know.
So
that's one of the good things about Mountain Home. It's like just 10 minutes away. You can just land for days.
Yep.
So cool. Okay, so as far as business goes, so what inspired you to start the carpet cleaning business? Was there like I have a passion for carpets, or was there something else? What kind of sparked the idea for you?
So I'll go a couple different directions with it, but I was in flight
Sure.
training. Life happened. I told you about that. There was an in between
Yep.
step. I actually picked up a job with the FAA to be an air traffic controller, but it took them about a year to get my class date. And while I was waiting on the class date, I was looking for something to fulfill my time. And I traveled actually back to Idaho, and I was on a trip with a friend that owns a coffee shop. And he, we've known each other for years at this point, probably 5 or 6 years, maybe a little longer. And we just had one of those long conversations, of what are we doing with our lives and all this stuff. And he was like, why don't you start a business? That's something that you've talked about for a long time. It's something that I know that you want to do. And yeah, these other things are, they're awesome. They're fun, but why don't you go start a business? And it kind of like switched my gears a little bit. I got to thinking about it, and he had mentioned carpet cleaning during that conversation. I quickly did some research, and within a week, I bought the van that we operate out of today. So it was a very quick decision. I did some research on it, and I felt like it was something I could learn very quickly. I've always been a very hands-on kind of a person, quick to learn. Of course, being in a rural area, there's not a lot of folks that do maintenance on that kind of equipment. It was something. It's just like small engines mechanic, and that's stuff that I'm familiar with. So I've been able to do all my own maintenance on it to keep it moving. It just seemed like something that I could do and run with. So that's one of the reasons why there wasn't really a passion behind it. I really didn't understand, I guess, that side of my brain at the time.
Mm,
I was
yeah.
just looking for something to start and something to fulfill that need of wanting to start a business, and I got it. So that's kind of how it started, and it's been great. It's what my family does full time, and it's growing year over year. So it's doing what it's supposed to.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's cool because a lot of people, interesting enough, will just spend years like planning and thinking and what should I do and what's my purpose in life. It's like sometimes you
Yeah.
just have to do something because you'll
Yeah.
never really know what the purpose is, because that
Mhm.
can lead to something else that leads to something else. And then 5 years, 10 years down the road, you're like, wow, I never imagined I would be here. It's like, well, because you took action on something,
Yep.
even if it ends up being something that you do for, a couple months, a couple of years, it
Yep.
may take a totally different direction. Nick and I had this very conversation on my way home about we never know where life is going to take us. We could be somewhere in 5 years that we never even expected, but we have to do
Oh yeah.
something.
Oh yes.
Whether
Yep.
it's, good, bad, or indifferent, call it whatever you want. But I love
Yep.
that you just were like, yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Don't
And I'm
overthink it,
definitely
man.
I'm definitely guilty of what is that paralysis by
Analysis
analysis.
paralysis.
Yeah, I am so
Yep.
guilty of that too. Even though I've
I
started the
am
business,
too terrible.
there's still times within the business that I'm like, I need to go do this or that, and then I'll start like planning and doing all this stuff, and my wife is like, what the hell are you dragging your feet for? Let's go, So um,
Yeah.
her and I definitely equal each other out in that sense because she's the go 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 and I'm the plan plan plan. you know.
Yeah. That's
Um,
good when you have that partnership and that balance
mhm.
because, if you're both that same way, then you just never get anywhere. So that's
Oh, we'd
good
be
that you
couch
have that.
potatoes. I'd just be planning on the couch forever and then get
Yeah.
lost in a YouTube channel or something.
Yeah, I have to learn everything before I start. And that I feel like people get caught in that trap too. It's like I don't
Yep.
know enough. And you're just kind of like, yeah, well, I'll learn as I go and
You'll never
just
know enough. And,
yeah.
and being a parent, right? What do you tell people that are like, well, we're kind of waiting to see if we're going to wait till next year to have kids. And I'm like, you're not, you're going to be just as ready next year.
Right.
It's
I
this,
I
it's this,
remember that.
it's the same principle.
Yeah, I remember talking to somebody and I was like, well, we need to make a little bit more new money and this and that and the other and, put some more money in savings. And she's like, Shauna, that's just just, it's never going to be the perfect time. Sometimes you just have to
Right.
do certain things and just, go with it. So,
Just run
because
with it and go.
I'm a planner too. I wanted to plan out everything, and then my life just never, it didn't turn out the way that I planned it. And now it's
Right.
like, well, you know what? It's a little bit more fun, like not knowing, not planning.
Hmm.
I don't plan much of anything anymore other than like,
Yeah.
what am I doing next week? That's
Right.
usually
Yep.
the extent of my planning. So, talk about your, like, if you were talking with somebody else that was in the military, what kind of advice would you give them as far as like starting a business? I know there's a lot of great resources out there, especially in Idaho, Boise,
Hmm.
for veterans that have the desire to start a business. There's a lot of resources, education, groups, all that kind of stuff. But what kind of advice would you have for somebody that's like, well, I don't know what's next for me? And I know that's kind of, my husband deal with that. He's like, oh, well, I'm out of the military now. Like, what do I do next? I've been doing this for 20 years. It's kind of all I know. Um, what advice would you have for somebody that's like, I know a business is for me, but I don't know where to start?
Hmm. So the number one thing that I talk to folks about when they ask me about starting a business is I kind of go down the list of what's to be done, and I'm not talking about like making a business plan and coming up with a name and starting your website and your social handles and all that stuff. I'm talking about like the legal stuff because I'm a very like I guess I try to be anyway. I learned some things from you the other day about taxes, but I
Yeah.
try to be very punctual with all of my paperwork and making sure that all of the legal stuff is taken care of because that's the kind of stuff that can really hurt you. So
Yeah.
I wish that I had somebody to kind of show me this, but and I should just make a document. But it's basically a list of all the things you need to do. Go to the go to the Secretary of State and get your name, get your licenses if you need to get licenses. Take that information,
Mhm.
go get your EIN with the IRS. Then from there, you need to go get your bank accounts. Like I know that seems like simple stuff to those of us that have seen businesses for a while now, but it took me a couple of years to even understand all that stuff. You know, I just jumped in and thought, well, I know there's some legal stuff I have to do, but I have no idea. And thank goodness I had a friend that kind of held my hand through it. But I would definitely recommend maybe I can't remember what it stands for. The SBDC. Do you know who those folks are? It says
Small Business Development Center.
yes. So go to your local. I because of my time with the Chamber of Commerce here in town. If it was me talking to somebody here in this town, I would say go to the Chamber of Commerce and ask them to talk to somebody from the SBDC, and then they can tell you exactly what you need to do. They'll sit down over financial stuff with you if that's one of your big interests. Because sometimes people already know. I already have my name, my social stuff, my email, my EIN, my business name, like I already have all that stuff done. Now what do I do? Well, now you're kind of getting into the realm of insurances and how much is your overhead, how much are things going to cost. Um, you can talk to folks with the SBDC that can really help you out with those things too.
Yeah.
Making
I
a
worked with
making a
them
budget. And,
initially.
yeah, yeah,
They're
they're a great
awesome. And it's
great
free.
resource. Hmm. It
Yeah.
is.
I think
Yep.
there's a lot of great resources out there that people just don't know about. It seems
Take
like they're
advantage
like,
of
oh,
them
I never
too.
heard of that before.
And
Yeah.
this is really hard. This is really hard too because when I got out of the military, that there's a class that we had to take at I forgot what it's called. It's like the exit class, that you take, and they teach you how to write
The
resumes
taps.
and yeah, taps, yeah. So I remember
Taps.
in
Yeah.
that class they were talking to us about if you want to start a business, talk to us. We can help you. During that class, it's a few days long. Different people come in. So they'll have people come in and talk about your military benefits as a civilian. They'll teach you how to, again, write a resume. If you want to learn how to start a business, they have little pamphlets and people that you can talk to there about that kind of stuff. During my time going through TAP, I did not know I was going to start a business. So that information went in and then out, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's so much information in those that I would recommend anybody who's going through the TAP program to pay attention during that part, because it is likely somebody from the SBDC is going to be there speaking to your class as well, or from a similar organization that can really lend a hand and help. We have another business here in town that started up, and he needed funding, and I know that through some military things that he's through some military affiliations, not funded by the military or anything like that, but he was able to connect with the right people to get funding to start his business as well. So, and I think it was through
cool.
I think it was through the SBA.
Yeah,
I think
they
he was
do
able
have
to figure out
specific
some. Yeah.
military
So
programs.
yes, yeah. So there are so many darn resources out there. It's crazy. You just have to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
I'm a stubborn dude, I guess, sometimes. So even though I like to plan, I'm still stubborn sometimes. And I'm like, I'll figure it out, you know. But honestly, there's no like secret. There's no way of doing all the things that you have to do. There's no different way of doing it. You know, every business has to have certain documents, and they're all the same. You know, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As far as financial stuff, you can operate your business a little bit differently. I know some people. There's a guy that I've read his book. His name's Mike Michalowicz.
Profit First.
Yeah, Profit First. I love
Yeah,
that.
I love him.
read that book. I love how he has that all set up, and we can get more into it in a bit, but. It's always been a dream of mine to run a business based on that model, based on his model that he outlines in that book. I would love to do that sometime. Honestly, with what I have going on now, I just never got around to it. So that I mean, read as many books as you can too. Personal development, financial stuff. Mike Michalowicz is a good one, of course. I'm actually listening to on Audible. I'm listening to a book about quantum physics right now, just because that's interesting to me. But some people take that as information, and some people take it as personal development. So however you want to take it, whatever. If you want to start a business, try to get, develop yourself as best you can and learn as much about the business aspects of things as you can. So the legal side, the financial side, and then all those things have to be in good order,
For sure. Yeah, because a lot of people kind of get themselves in a bit of a pickle when they find out later on, especially if they get like sued or something like that. It's just like they had no legal protection, and it's the least sexy stuff about business, but it's like the very necessary thing. So a lot of people just kind of like try to wing it, and I'm always a proponent and do it right the first time, because like trying to go back and fix it later, kind of we talked about the other day, costs you three to four times as much as if you would have just done things right in the beginning. And I kind of hear that a lot. It's like, well, I wish I would have done things a little bit, but it is what it is, and we all learn. So
I think that principle alone is also just kind of part of being an entrepreneur. And that's where the saying that I think that's a perfect. Yeah, and it's a perfect way of saying don't be afraid to screw up, because when you say that to people, they're like, oh, so cliche, like no shit, but it's for real. Like what you and I talked about the other day. I thought I had been doing things really, really well, and then I talked to you, and I was like, I got some work to do now, and that's okay, because it's a learning opportunity now, instead of just turning away from it, it's a learning opportunity to get better in the next adventure, or this adventure if it sticks around, or just going. It's just more information. You'll always be learning something. It's just another way of saying don't be afraid to fail. It's not like you're failing so hard that your life is going to end. It's just these little hurdles. You just pick up a piece of information, you just keep going. Sometimes you'll read an entire book and you only pull a little nugget out of 500 pages, but that one little nugget can really help you along your journey,
Yeah, one sentence can change your whole life sometimes. I mean, I've read books like that where it's just like you see the world completely differently afterwards, and then you're just like, I'm a different person now, and it was one chapter, a paragraph, things like that. Yeah, and it helps people from, because a lot of people try to, like we talked about, planning and preparing, and then you get paralysis, and then you end up doing nothing. So not to be afraid to just be like, to get it wrong, because I mean, I know I've fallen flat on my face several times, and I just
Hmm.
keep getting back up and keep going back forward.
Yep.
And it's just like, once you're, I don't know, for me, like once you're in that entrepreneurial world and you get that, like that taste of freedom to where like you're your own boss, you never really want to go backwards. I would take all the mistakes and all the stress and all of that over, having somebody tell me what to do every day.
Yep.
For me
Absolutely. There's
anyways.
even
So
even though it is extremely demanding of your time, it's still very rewarding. Um,
yeah.
there, you can always your business is as healthy as you make it. It's almost it's kind of a weird way to see what you're capable of. I remember the first year in business. Actually, it was like the first couple months. Of course, I have this carpet cleaning truck with all my chemicals in the back, but I said all my chemicals, but there was like one jar because that's all I could afford at the time. I was doing all the brushing and raking by hand. It sucked. And I remember going to the gas pump and just cringing, and I'd stop the pump when it hit like $20. I'm like, this has got to get me by. I mean, starting a business kind of is scary, but
Yeah.
if you just keep at it and chipping away, kind of like blazing your trail, those, you'll just know that that's part of the process. It's part of your journey. It's part of how just it works sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be like that. And I remember being there in that place, and I remember being so stressed out, but it wasn't like a job where I had no control over what happened, right? I wasn't like at a job where my boss said you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I was in a place where I could go make work happen. And I remember being in business here, and that was actually the day that I started working for Pizza Hut here in town. I started cleaning their
Nice.
floors at night. Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
was so scared. I was at the gas pump. I clicked it off at $20, and I was like, "Holy cow! Like this is scary." I don't know how I'm gonna make it. And then I just got the itch, and I started knocking on all the businesses' doors, trying to get work, and work popped up. I mean, all over the place now. We work all over the city for a lot of different businesses. Um, it's hard to do that when you're at like a 9 to 5 job where you're kind of punching a clock. You don't have that control, you know. But when you own
Yeah.
your own business, you have that control. You can turn up the heat if you really want to, or you can,
Hmm.
if you want to go on vacation, you can completely check out too. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I don't know. I just remember being really freaking scared, and I had to go out and make it work. And then I was just like, "Holy cow! This is like the fruit of my labor now." I have these jobs around now that I picked them up
Yeah.
like that day.
Yeah. And then you
So
get to kind of like, that's almost like fuel. I know it is for me. It's like, okay, I have to make some money.
yeah,
So it's like when you
yeah,
don't have a choice, almost like when you're backed into a corner, that's when
yeah.
you go and do it. Like if you're, not that there's anything wrong with having a 9 to 5 job or anything like that, but you know that you're getting that paycheck every other Friday. It's like
Oh
whether
yes,
you, but also people forget, like you can get fired tomorrow. And,
yep,
you know, if you're a business owner, you can go and do what you did, go and knock doors. You have to be
yep,
willing to do what other people aren't willing to do to get
yep,
what you desire. And
yep.
there's just a lot of people aren't willing to
Now,
do that. Like, oh God,
and,
go ask for somebody's business? No way, I would never do that.
oh, honestly too. It's the easiest thing now. That's actually what we do. We don't even pay for advertising. We don't
That was
pay
gonna be
for
my
like
next question.
we don't yeah we don't pay for like any pay per click Google ads, Facebook ads, or anything like that. The only we do so we have like postcards and things that we give to offices for like
Hmm.
property management, real estate. We have little boxes of gift cards. I don't have any Nope, I don't have any on my desk right now, but I have these little gift cards in little boxes. It looks like a little deck of cards, and it's just gift cards for our services.
Oh,
And
cool.
we give those to realtors. So that's kind of like our advertising is in print, basically. And then we pay an admin now. So this is actually, I have a funny story. I'm going to bounce around here just a little bit.
Sure.
I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
rewind a little bit. So my wife, being the person that's like the go now, we
Yeah.
started this program, and it was just a real estate outreach program, reaching out to realtors to see how we can help them provide more value to their customers. Right. So we would ask them, hey, can we get some of, can we work with your clients? And we want to help you provide more value to them by giving them $50 off of our services. These are the services that we offer, and so on. So that's kind of how we would start the conversation with real estate agents. And now we work with hundreds of real estate agents, and they're all passing out our information all over the valley. When we started that program, my wife and I were going through a bunch of legal stuff, and unfortunately, we had to reside in two different states for a short time. And she was working for a company that she really did not like at all at the time. And of course, court battles are expensive. And one morning I woke up and she called me and she says, "Hey, I want to let you know I just quit my job." And I was like,
Ah.
I was like, "What? You can't be doing this is expensive, you know." So I was like, "So what are we gonna do, you know?" And she said, "Well, I'll make calls for the business." So I ended up buying a line on one of the digital voice over IP systems, and I gave her a list of real estate agents. There's something like 5,000 in the valley, and I was like, just start calling every single one of them, you know. And that very quickly became a full-time job. So this last year, we ended up hiring an admin, and that's what she does now. So she does all of our outbound, and she does all of our inbound as well. So whenever she's not receiving a call or going through emails or anything like that, she's just making outbound calls, and they're all cold calls to realtors. If it's not a cold call, then it's a just a follow up with somebody who has our gift cards already. So she'll reach out, talk to them about the service, set up a meeting. If a realtor seems reluctant, then we just offer to take them out for lunch or coffee or something like that, so we can sit down and talk to them. We have that personal relationship. Personal relationships go a lot further than
Yeah.
a pay-per-click ad, and you'll pay a ass ton of money for freaking clicks on Google. It has, especially
Yeah.
the last couple of years, it has gotten very expensive. Facebook is the same way. Also, their algorithms or whatever, their programs keep changing. So if an ad works one time, it's not going to work for you again, probably, which is really frustrating because if something works for you, you want to keep dipping that bucket into that well until it's dry,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in a lot of social media marketing, you only get one dip of that bucket and then they just turn you off, you know? Um, congratulations, you know, go make another one. Um, that makes things kind of hard, especially for such a small company, because like I'm on the truck, but I'm wearing like 10,000 at the same time, you know? So that's why we threw away all of our like paid advertising over social medias and Google. So
Yeah, and I think
um,
you have to dump a lot of money into those for them to actually work. And I
yeah,
don't think a lot of people realize how much you have to put in there and
yeah,
test over and over and over to get any traction with them. It's very,
yeah,
very costly. And I
yeah,
mean, for me, but a lot of people are like, well, I want to get clients on autopilot, and which is great, but you have to understand like the other side of it too is um, there's some businesses out there that are like, I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per month just on ads, now on that scalability, it's different, but like for a small business, I feel like it's just kind of like money just down the toilet. Personal relationships are, I found too, and depending on the type of business as well, especially in mine, it's very sensitive and,
yeah,
you know, I've just found those type of relationships, and then referrals and referrals and referrals, and the word starts getting out. It's just, you have to be able to put in that legwork. And I think that a lot of people are just like, no, I want to take the easy way out. I just want to do ads,
It's not the
and
easy way out.
if you do those too early, I made that mistake. I tried the Facebook ad thing. I was just like, I might as well have just flushed that money right down the toilet.
Yep.
I didn't know, like, you have to really dump tons of money into that for months and months and months on end to get it to actually work for you. So,
yep.
It's
relationships
horrible.
It's a hard lesson to learn when you start putting money into Google, and then what sucks is it's like gambling, right? You see a little return and you're like, oh, yes, yes, yeah. The table's hot. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep pulling on that lever, whatever. It's so frustrating, and I'm glad that by, year 2.5-ish, I figured it out, and I figured out that it just costs too much money. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially during COVID. Oh my gosh, ad costs went up so freaking high. I was like, my customer acquisition cost is so stinking high that I'll lose it. I won't be able to operate anymore. Same with the Google guarantee thing. The little green check mark. I did do that, and it works really good, but what's really hard is Google started adding more people to the Google guarantee list, and for home services, people shop because they think that every carpet cleaning, business is the same. Hey, how much do you charge for this? All right, well, I want to go out and take a look, and they're like, nope, we just need a price. So, like, even if you try to get into their house and build a relationship and talk with them, there's just another person they can call. So,
okay, yeah.
Honestly, the best thing that we ever did was just start reaching out to realtors. I once heard of a gentleman say in a podcast, he owns a big supplement business. He said one of the best ways to grow your business is to reach out to people who have your customers. And I was like, real estate, yep. They have our customers. They're all moving. They need stuff done. We can help take care of them, And the last few months, probably 75 or 80% of our work has been real estate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Collaboration, just, I don't want to say piggybacking off other people, but when you connect those dots with the people that, like you said, have your customers, then it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it's no skin off their back. It's no skin off their back, and we always try to tell them too. We don't want anything from you. We're not trying to take your customer list. We're not trying to anything like that. But for houses to be marketable, a lot of times people want them clean, especially in today's market right now. The market's very competitive. You're staying on the market longer. We can help you move the house a little bit faster with some cleanliness. And if you do use us, here's $50. We're not trying to sell you on anything today, but it'll save you $50 if you decide to use us. Think on it if you want to. We're not into pressure sales either. Oh my gosh, that's another thing we can talk about today too. Carpet cleaning companies are so scammy, and it drives me absolutely bonkers because they will go into your house and say 3 rooms for $99, Miss Jones, and then they show up to your house and you're getting paid $600 for those rooms because they add on this and that and 10 other freaking things. It happens all the freaking time.
I see those ads all the time. I'm like, that's so cheap.
I can't stand it. So for anybody that owns one of these freaking carpet cleaning vans, it depends on who does the maintenance, and this cost can fluctuate a lot, but I've done the math, and for me to operate at my level, it costs about $50 per hour that truck mount runs. So the machine inside the truck, for every hour that runs, it costs $50, right? It takes about an hour and a half to an hour and a half to clean 3 areas of carpet. By the time you send a technician out there for $99 with the truck, everything and the van running and all that stuff, you're already upside down. They're not making money. Those technicians are salesmen. They're not technicians. They are meant to go in there to sell and to take your little wallet and tip it upside down and shake it out. I don't like that at all. So we actually went flat rate with our pricing on carpet cleaning anyway. We're not flat rate on other things because if we're going to your house to clean upholstery, grout and tile, and carpet on the same trip, we can save you money. We just want to do what's fair for the customer and for us as well. That's why we build relationships, is so that we can have these kind of conversations with our clients, you know. But we give prices over the phone all day long, and it is more expensive than everybody else, and we know that, and we did it on purpose. Because we want to build that relationship with people. We want people to understand why we're doing it. We want people to understand they're taken care of. We go to their house, and when we give them that price, we always tell them that covers spot spills, accidents, stains, and odors. We're not going to upsell you. We're not going to upcharge you. There's no hidden fees or anything like that. There's no, gosh, I saw one on one of these big, huge companies. One of these big, huge companies that's a franchise. They said there was like a waste fee or something, or like an economic fee or something. I was like, what the hell? Just pay for the service and take care of it, dude. Like, what is the breakdown here? It's just mind blowing to me, all the different things. I mean, they're much bigger than I am, so maybe they know more than I do. Of course, they probably do, you know. But as far as sales go, I just don't believe in pressure sales. Of course, we will inform people, hey, we can take care of your grout and tile, and any other services. Here's a brochure with all of our services, but I'm not going to stand here and tell you, if you buy this today, I'll go talk to my boss and see if I can get you half off, you know, and then just to throw a bogus price at you. Those guys I can't stand it. The little soapbox of mine. Everyone of being in this business, I'm so turned off by salesmen. Oh my gosh.
Me too. I know. We all kind of have like our soapbox moment. Mine is other accountants that do shitty job on small businesses, books and tax. That's my soapbox moment. So I understand. And like I think people really appreciate the transparency. I think that people are getting kind of tired of these big companies that are lying to people, that are misleading. And it's like, well, shit, they're already in the house. Might as well just go for it. Don't want to waste any more time. Just get it done. Whatever. I don't care. But I really think people are starting to see through a lot of that stuff, and they're like shifting back. I feel like our society is really shifting back to like the small businesses instead of like the big, huge corporations and the chains and that kind of thing, because they're not getting the level of service and they're not really getting the transparency. And there's always, like you said, the hidden fees and, you know, the misleading pricing structures and things like that. It's like, just be honest what it is up front, and then let people decide for themselves. There's no need, in my opinion, for gimmicks and all that kind of stuff. Like, just people want transparency, and they want to know what they're going to be paying before they pay for it. They don't want to be caught by surprise later on. That pisses me off the most, when it's like, wait, you said it was this and now it's this. That happened when I rented a car. It was like, it was supposed to be $200 and some, and now it ends up being $5. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Like, I will never rent a car through that app ever again now.
Yeah.
So. And I submitted that. Like, they asked for my feedback and I gave it, and nobody ever, you know, said like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but it was a terrible like experience. That was the Hopper app. So if anybody uses that, don't use it.
Shame on you.
Right. Yeah. So, well, this was really good information. What's kind of like, besides what you're doing now, what kind of like other dreams and aspirations do you have? I know you talked about like you're working on your helicopter licensing and being able to do that. Is that kind of something that you foresee yourself doing kind of full time or more hobby in the future? What do you kind of see like the next 10 years?
So kind of what we talked about earlier, about passion. I'm still a young dude, you know, but I am getting older, you know, and the clock's ticking for all of us, you know, and I've kind of reached a point. I've kind of reached a point this last year where I'm really trying to dig deep in myself and try to pull out that childlike wonder again. I'm really trying to figure out what kind of really drives me and what really, I guess, makes me tick. I feel like becoming an adult kind of robs you of your child in a way, because you move out, you have bills all of a sudden. You know, it starts with a cell phone, then it goes to rent, then you get a car, then or whatever order, it doesn't matter, right? And then all of a sudden you start working for the man because now you're a slave to your own stuff. And I've always been conscious of that, but I started my business out of, I would say, necessity in a way, because I knew I was going to start a business, but I didn't. And then I just kind of picked something that I think I could do and then just ran with it. It wasn't passion driven. So I'm looking to make a transition into something that I really, really enjoy. Aviation has been, actually, it was the reason why I joined the Air Force. I, as a kid, did not know that you needed to get good grades to go to a good school to get a degree and figure out the pilot thing. I also have terrible eyesight, so at the time, it
Oh,
just the cards were kind of stacked up, in a way.
yeah.
Again, a learning thing. I'd have probably been a much better student if it meant, if I knew that it would get me a slot into flying a jet or something. But through the military, which I had a tremendous experience in, through the military, I have the GI Bill, of course, and the GI Bill does pay for training. So I'm capitalizing as much as I can on that opportunity. So I started my flight training, and I'd like to do that full time soon. I should be finishing up uh, my instructor certificate this winter. So probably late winter, early spring, I'll be looking for a job instructing. And then from there, I would like to work on oil rigs and work my way into an EMS job.
Oh, cool.
So, and at that point, so in aviation, you have to have a lot of experience to own an aviation company or to operate within an aviation company. Anybody can own an aviation company, but if you want to fly within that company or be a pilot in it, you do need to have experience. Um, so that's one of the reasons why I'm going down this route. It's another chapter of life. I would like to own an aviation-based company. The entrepreneur bug has me.
Yeah.
I will always be an entrepreneur. So even though I may be going, we were talking, I was talking kind of ill about nine jobs. They're not all bad. If you really enjoy what you're doing,
Yeah.
you should do it. If it fulfills you, absolutely go do it. And that's kind of a transition that I'm looking to make so that I can transition again into maybe doing a business sometime. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe doing firefighting or maybe doing EMS stuff with my own equipment and things. So who knows? That's years down the road, but I would like to shift my life more into the aviation lifestyle, helicopter lifestyle. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Neat.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes too, jobs are super helpful for giving you the experience that you need to take that next step, right? So
absolutely.
there's like those avenues, and you can't be closed minded. I don't want a job anymore. It's like that's the one thing that can get you to that next level. And as you were talking about aviation, so another idea too is purchasing an existing business. That's another option that a lot of people don't talk about. I know when Nick and I were searching for a business, he kept being drawn to these, like, aviation, or I think they were like planes. I can't remember what service they were providing, but they had a lot of planes, and it was like some type of aviation type business, but the numbers just didn't make any sense. They weren't making any money. It was just like you're buying planes and a business name. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's always an option too. But yeah, I feel like I'm not sure how old you are, but I know when I kind of hit 40, it was like you want to get back to like that, like you said, like that child, like who I was as a kid, because I feel like we start out really who we are as a person when we're children, and then we get like conditioned and we get programmed, and then we turn 40, and then we start realizing like, oh, like this isn't really how I want to live my life. And then we kind of start reverting back. I've seen that happen in not only myself but just so many people. They reach this,
Yeah.
in their late 30s. They're like, wait, I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. And a lot of people do revert back to what they loved to do as a kid, because we were so like pure and genuine. We hadn't been brainwashed at that point to like,
Yeah.
live our life a certain way according to what society said. Go get a job, um,
Yeah. Go to school. Go
contribute
get
to
a
society,
job.
be meaningful. Yeah, go to
Yeah.
college, go into debt, get a marketing degree, like that kind of stuff. But
The most meaningful thing
and
you can do
now,
is do what you want to do. That's the most meaningful thing you can do,
yeah,
honestly.
because when you do something that you don't enjoy, it feels 5 times as hard.
Yeah.
I've experienced that too. It's like, why is this so hard? It's like, oh, because I'm really not supposed to be doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I
So,
don't like it. That's why.
exactly. And but
Yeah.
we've kind of been conditioned like you just have to work. You don't need to enjoy it. You just need to work and provide for your family. Well,
No.
but it's like those two things can be true at the same time. You can work, you can provide for family, and you can enjoy what you do.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be
I.
like one or the other.
Yep. And that's the mission I'm on right now. Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
Just find what I love and go after it. Who knows? I might get into the
Yeah.
aviation thing and figure, well, at least I tried, but it was something I wanted to do as a kid. So
Yeah. Yeah.
go check
And
it
you
out.
never know until you try. And like, 'cause sometimes people will have dreams for years and years and they sit on it forever. And then they finally go do it. They're like, ooh, that wasn't what I thought. So you spent all those years dreaming about something that you weren't even going to actually enjoy anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like, just try it. Try it.
So go.
And then
Yeah.
see
So
where
go.
it goes.
If there's anything that you want to do, you should go. You should make it a priority to go do it.
Yeah.
Don't die with your dreams. Don't die with that. That's
Yeah.
we have to make the best damn shot you can.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my mindset's been recently. I'm I'm not that old. I'm only 34, but
Okay.
I'm like
You're learning early.
yeah. I'm happy to hear that, honestly, because I don't feel like I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel like you are. A lot of people don't realize until they're much later in life. There's a lot of people that completely change their whole life at 50, and they're just like, wait, this is what I'm going to do. They, just completely go in an opposite direction. And,
Yeah.
Everyone does it at different times. I've talked to people in their mid-20s that are doing that too. And I'm like, damn, I wish I could have, but my journey is mine and I can't compare it to somebody else. But I
Yep.
kind of do wish that I would have learned something a little bit, what I'm
Isn't
learning
that hard?
now. 20.
Isn't that hard? You see somebody in their 20s and they're like they're so full of life and they're like loving what they do. And I'm like, how do I get that? Teach me how, please.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's because so a lot of people allow their dreams to die because of money. It's
Yes.
the number one dream killer. Well, I don't have the money. I need to save more. I need to do this and I need to do that. And sometimes you just have to take the leap. And it's terrifying. But many times when you do that, there's opportunities that come up that never would have come up if you hadn't have taken that leap and invested in yourself and believed in yourself. But a lot of people cannot get past like the money piece. I need to have all the money laid out, figured out. And that's that, paralysis, right? The decisions and the like planning, and I got to have everything figured out before I jump. And I mean, I jumped several years ago when I left, a big CPA firm, 6-figure salary, all of that. I just was like, I'm done, I'm out. And it didn't work out great for me until pretty recently, but I still did well. Like I still figured things out. The money still came to me in multiple different, avenues. And it's when I look back now, I'm just like, oh, actually things actually worked out pretty well. And if I would have stayed until I had enough money saved up or whatever, like who knows how my life would have turned out. Probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's something that should be taught in schools, honestly.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It should be taught in schools, honestly, because that talks back to what we were talking about earlier with you'll never be ready. You can. That's kind of the mentality of I'll be happy when I have this or have that. Input, whatever. Normally
that's a dangerous
an amount
one.
of money or something like that. You can't do that. That's something that I've had to learn my entire life growing up. I remember saying to myself, I'm going to make 6 figures. I'm going to make 6 figures. I'm going to make 6 figures. I made 6 figures like 6 years ago. Then I started my business. Then I made the smallest amount of money I ever made, but I was happier doing it, And
same.
Now, if I go be a flight instructor, I'm doing that to myself again. I am literally going backwards a lot.
Yeah.
Like that, flight instructors don't make a lot of money, you know?
Yeah. If you love to read, 10x is easier than 2x. Great
Who's that one
book.
by?
I don't remember. I can text it. It's in the house. I'll text a picture of it to you. So Nick and I got a book each, and we started reading it, and we were like, "Holy shit!" Because
Yeah,
what they say is like sometimes you have to cut things out that aren't your 20%, your laser focus. And when you cut those out, then you jump to the next level. But a lot of
yeah,
people aren't willing to take that risk. No, I can't cut out that job. No, I can't cut out this business. Like I can't cut that out. That's my livelihood. But the moment like you cut that out, you like immediately jump into the next level. And
yeah,
we both kind of had that same experience as we sat down and we whiteboarded it out, like where are we spending 80% of our time that we want to cut out, and
yeah.
what do we want to laser focus on the 20%. So what you're doing is you're 10xing your life
Mm-hmm.
by taking that risk. If you say I'm going to do this to myself again, but that's really what it takes to get to the next level, because you can't carry all the baggage with you to the next one. It's a really
No,
great
you
book.
gotta
You should
drop.
definitely read it.
Yeah, I just wrote it down actually. So
Okay. Because
I
even
wrote it
like I
down.
only read 2 chapters and I was like, holy crap. Like I
Yeah,
started to like go back through my whole life and go, oh my gosh, this is when I 10x and this is when I 10x. Like if I wouldn't have taken that risk
mm-hmm.
and got rid of something, working in a CPA firm, like it was drowning me and I had to cut it out. And I went, and it
Yeah,
took me a while to get back to that 6-figure mark, but like I was happy. And that's
yeah,
truly what matters, because when you're happy, like really genuinely happy, money flows to you a lot easier when you're happy. When you're miserable and you're a victim and you just like mad at the world, like you're going to struggle. It's just
I'm
kind of
listening
like
to
the
that in
laws
that
of
book
nature
right now.
almost.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna pull up
it's
this book
really,
right
really
now
good.
because it's kind of about it. Breaking the habit of being yourself.
I don't
Yourself
think I've read that one, Joe
by
Dispenza. But
Joe
those are good
Dispenza.
ones too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
10X
It's a
one, I
long
mean,
book. Yeah,
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 it's like pretty thick.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
I picked up the book and then I was like, I'm just gonna get it on Audible and listen to it while I work. So that's
yeah,
what I've been doing.
yeah,
I think it's gonna be one of those I have to listen to a few times. It's just super dense, but it
yeah.
does. Yeah, it does talk about in a roundabout way about being happy and being where your mind and where your body connect and what you can actually go achieve. You know, so
hmm
um,
Yeah,
if you're not happy, you got to
because
make
it's like,
yourself happy and trim the
yeah,
fat. You
and
know,
that's the most important. And it's if you're doing the I'll be happy when, then like you got to cut
you'll
that
never
shit
get there.
out. Like
Yep.
you will never get there, because there will always be something in the way, and life is never without problems, but you got to learn how to still be happy and just see them as lessons, not problems, not, something that's just terrible in the end of the world for you. And it's like a slow perspective shift, I think. And then
Mm-hmm.
you start to like slowly at a time start to see the world a little bit differently. But
Right.
yeah, happiness it's not found in a business. It's not found in a job. It's found like within yourself.
It
And if you
is.
can't
It
even
really is.
be happy with yourself, ain't nothing in the world, no shit outside of that is ever going to make you happy. You'll always be striving for like the next thing. And I was there like
Yeah.
10 years ago, and I learned that the hard way. So I
Yeah.
was like trying to find all these things
Jeez.
outside of me, like to make me happy. But it's in here. And a lot of people just aren't willing to take a look in the mirror and say,
Yep.
this is about me. My life is the way that it is because of me. Take personal
Yep.
responsibility. That's a big
Yep.
one, because a lot of people are just like, they don't want to do it. They don't want to take any responsibility for their own life.
Yep.
But
That's Jocko's
we're in
book.
control of it.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
listened to that, or have you read that one, Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink? That's a good one too.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, he's a Navy SEAL
I'll have to
guy.
write that down.
Yeah, yeah, that's another good one.
Is that Oh, no, that's somebody else. I think he was a Navy SEAL too. I read one of his books, um, but I just couldn't get into it. It was like about self-discipline or something. But anyways,
It could have been that one.
David
He took us a lot about that. Oh
Goggins
yeah,
or
yeah,
something. Yeah, it was a
yeah.
little
You
too
can't hurt me.
hardcore for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I started reading
yeah.
that. I was like, this is really interesting, but it was a little extreme for me. But
So
or
I
maybe I
listened
just
to
wasn't
that
ready
one.
at the time.
I listened to that one on audio, and I really liked it because he did it in a podcast form. So he would read a chapter, and then him and his buddy, who was the narrator of the book,
Oh, cool.
they would conversate. They would talk about that chapter and those specific instances in life that he was talking about. So it was like a chapter and then a discussion. It was super super cool. So that the audio I would definitely recommend for that one,
Okay.
just because of the way
I'll
they
have to
did it.
try the
It's just
audio then.
different and it's a little more engaging.
Yeah,
He went through some shit, man. Holy crap. Yeah, Goggins went through some
yeah.
shit growing up.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, I can't relate to this guy. It's a bit extreme for me, but I'll have to
Yeah,
check out the Audible. I do like Audible.
yeah,
So, well, this is good. I don't want to take up too much of your more of your time, but I really appreciate you being my first guest and
yeah.
doing this with me and sharing, your story and your perspectives and things that you've learned and you know something that will hopefully help somebody else and just be like, go fucking do it.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah. Go get
overthink
after it.
it. Just go get after it. So I really
Yeah,
appreciate your time tonight and thank you so much.
yeah.
Anything else that you want to add or last thoughts?
I don't know if I said this earlier, but burn the ships. Just get after it. Just go. Don't give yourself any other options. If you give yourself B, you'll take the plan B. It's just how we're wired. Um,
Yeah.
just jump. Take the opportunity. Go get it. We're only here once. I don't know how many ways I can say it. There's so many ways. There's so many lines. There's
Yeah.
so many pieces. But I mean, just make the best. Make the best of it. Be present in everything you do. Enjoy your life. Have fun while you're doing it. And if you're not
Yeah.
happy, then cut out the stuff that doesn't make you happy.
Exactly. And you
Yeah,
have to have fun for sure. Having more fun does lead to money in my experience. The more fun I
that's good.
have, I've found that, because it's just like money's energy. It just kind of like follows the good stuff.
Yep,
but,
yep.
um, but I like that, not having a plan B, because when you have a plan B, you always have that safety net. And
Yep.
that makes people feel secure, but it also keeps you in your comfort zone.
It
So,
keeps you comfy. Yep, and oh man, I
yeah.
heard a line the other day that really made me think. There's no, um, what was it? There's no comfort in discomfort. I cannot remember. You might have to cut this part out, but I was trying that. There's something about like you have to if you're comfortable you'll never be in a hard place, which will never make you really hungry enough to go do the difficult things that success
Yeah.
requires. And that's a principle across like all areas of life, with relationships. And yeah, I know that's so easy to talk about financial stuff all the time, like, oh, if you want more money, be a happier person. Well, not necessarily. You should be happy in your relationship and your family with your children and all these other things too. Like there's success in so many different ways, or in so
Hmm.
many different areas of your life. Of course, there's financial success. Well, there's relationship success too, and all these things are linked together. There's spiritual success as well. And I'm not saying go give your life to any one religion or what have you. Whatever you believe is fine, but just do it with all of what you have. You know. Um, just make yourself successful in every way that you possibly can. Really.
Yeah. And I think success is very individualized, right? My idea of success is not like you can't peg your own success on just money alone, or you can't peg it on what Joe Schmo down the street's doing. Well, that's his level of success. That's what success looks like for him.
That's one of my
You
favorite
have to
things to
kind
ask
of,
people. What is your what is your definition of success? And a lot of people, a lot
yeah,
of times they go straight to money, and I was just like, how
yeah,
about how about
$1 million
how about
in my
achieving
bank account.
I'm, I didn't ask financially. I just said success, you know.
Yeah. But that's how much people have tied their happiness to the dollar. Is this
Yes.
all
Yeah.
about the money? And it's
Yeah.
like, as long as I'm traveling and I'm having fun and I'm enjoying time with my family, that's my idea of success. And everything else is just like
Yeah.
whatever supports that. That's, that's success for me. But yeah, it's usually always like $1 million in the bank. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
what else?
I,
Give me something
I
besides
always
that.
I always tell people that it's the journey of you know, reaching for your greatest like accomplishments. You know, like
Hmm.
it's a journey of things. The line always changes. Success isn't a thing. It's just something that you strive
Yeah.
for. Achieving the highest version, the best version of yourself in all areas. You know, and all we can do is do. We've all heard the. I don't want to say it's all cliche, but we've all heard the lines like "do 1% better every single day, do better every single day." Don't like that's all it comes down to, you know. And business is the same way.
Hmm.
Business,
Yeah.
life, all of it's the same way. Just try to do better than you did today. That's all. You know, if
Hmm.
you're going to bed and you're bummed because you had a bad day or whatever, you know, just tell yourself, "Yeah, I'm going to do better tomorrow." That's it. Fall asleep on that. You'll wake up and you'll do better. I promise that.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't let those things kind of drag you down, just like
Yeah.
get up and go do it again. So
Yeah. Yeah.
good. Well, this was great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and it was great talking with you tonight.
Yeah. Good talking with you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good one.